Memories of Learning to Be a Wannabe 757 Captain, a Jeremy McMillan production. So there I was, thinking to myself, back in June of 2012, I'm a great jet jockey with all these default planes in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2004, otherwise known as Microsoft Flight Simulator 9. Hey, I have a little money. Hey, let's go spend it on the Captain Sim 757-200, which you see here. I figured, I could probably easily fly this thing, right? Nope, no, wrong. At first, I didn't know how to program anything at all in the FMC, which is the Flight Management Computer. And now, I'm able to program an entire flight from takeoff/departure to an approach that starts about 100 plus miles away and land the dang thing sorta accurately. I say sorta because I still have issues when I have to kick the plane out of autopilot mode if I'm doing a visual approach, because it's kind of hard when you don't have any feeling. And yeah, but anyways, where were we? Oh yeah, I can remember buying the dang thing and thinking to myself, how the hell do I even start this thing? Soon, of course, I figured it out. And now, if there's one thing I have learned or attempted to learn from this plane, it's that you must use and find all available resources. I can think of a few times that saved me, but one in particular. I was trying to program the FMC, and I decided, let's use a departure/arrival coupled with my route from XYZ to ABC. After I plugged in the XYZ departure and the ABC arrival, 2 route discontinuity messages popped up. I had never seen these messages pop up before, so I pulled out my quick reference handbook, otherwise known as a QRH, on the FMC, and which told me, okay, if you want to go from waypoint ABD directly to your next waypoint on your route, after the route discontinuity, click the line selector key, then the line selector key at the route disconnectivity. This will allow you to go direct. If you need to go via a jet or Victor airway, type this, then hit the line select key for the via, which is just below the route discontinuity. And then click the route selector key and have it go to that waypoint. And I can also remember another time when this happened to me. This time I was trying to program an approach, and ATC had me switch runways. Well, what I didn't realize is I had to also switch the flap settings due to a shorter runway length, and, well, luckily the airplane told me, hey, you idiot, you don't have enough flaps, you're going too fast, you're going to crash the plane. So then, of course, I paused it, pulled out my QRH. Oh, I gotta reprogram my flap landing speeds. Whoops. So then that's what I did. I selected a new flap speed and new landing speeds, which luckily allowed me to touch down the planes safely. Relatively speaking, of course. So as you can see now, we are taking off, and I'll continue with the rest of the actual memoir part here as soon as we get out of this. Gosh, I hope this isn't like 5 hours. Oh gosh, this is a problem when it doesn't tell me. Okay, anyways, I can, remember buying this thing, and as we continue on the departure, which will take us past the Albuquerque VOR and up north toward Alamosa and Los Alamos and Taos, let me tell you about just my general experience in flight sim. I first started flying flight sim when I was about 9, and I had Flight Simulator 2002 actually back then, and then about 8th grade I found this copy of Flight Simulator 2004, and I've been using it ever since. And then 2012, of course, I bought this. And if you're wondering about the line selector key, those are the things that are at the top of the, if you look at the screen, those are the things to the left and right of it. Hopefully I get back to the cockpit. Okay, good, I do. And then I keep accidentally hitting buttons. Oh, that's right, I decided to fly virtual cockpit at this point. Just to kind of show you around and show you, all these little clickable things that I also had to learn. Hey, these are clickable. like the light bulb cabinet. And I also had to learn that there's a weird poster that says breed more rabbits. I just had to learn the little intricacies of this plane. And that was a pain in the butt. Thankfully, I caught myself there. Yes, I hope you can tell I am very nervous. And keep telling myself to relax, but it's not really working. And that, is just some of the other features. Like you can pop out a screen. You can pretty much pop out most of the screens, if not all. And I had to learn that because one time I accidentally clicked on one of those and scared me half to death because all of a sudden I saw this thing in the top left corner, depending on how you look at the screen. Relax, Jeremy. So, yeah. And then I had to learn, what little intricacies, what that switch did, which actually raises this number right here, but I kept it at 150, I think? Yeah, 150. I'm just having trouble reading the numbers here, because I can't, because I have a very small screen, because I gotta read the script, and I'm waiting for another part to show up. I'm just nervous, out of my mind. Let me think. Let me tell you a couple other stories here while we wait till we get to the next good part. I can remember having to learn, what each little button did, because there's thousands of little buttons on this simulator. I believe, if I remember looking at the box correctly, there's about 250 to 300 actual switches you can push. Yes, 250 to 300 switches. So, that's a lot of switches you gotta learn each intricacy for. Also with a bunch of other clickable items. And now we start our turn here to the north, which means we should be getting to my next important part of the story. I hope. I did not time the script. Alright, yeah, we got 3 minutes till it goes to the next part, I think. Let's see. Yeah, 3 minutes. And if you're wondering what this little number right here is, the white below the green numbers, that is actually how high you are above the ground. And that's another just stupid little thing I had to learn, I was like, what's this number changing? Oh, it's my height above the ground. Heck, I even had to learn what Zulu time was, because as you can see on this screen, it displays Zulu time on when you're going to get to your next waypoint. I gotta relax. And this, shows your engine data. And I had to learn that. And this shows your other engine data and, your brake temp, what position your rudder and ailerons are in. So, yeah, and that's your Radio Shack. I just had to learn every single little button. And, oh gosh, that was just, torture. I had to learn that the autopilot actually continues past what you can see here on the screen. And what I showed earlier. So as you can see, there's even more switches up above in the overhead of the aircraft, like this evacuation button here and all that. Just little intricacies. Just like the altimeter. So as we continue on now, we're getting close to KLAM, otherwise Kilo Lima Alpha Mike, which is otherwise known as the Los Alamos Airport. And as you can see, I'm trying to zoom in on it here, and I'll put a still photo up for it. But if you're wondering why I include this, well, the first time I tried to fly this plane, let me tell you, it was a pain in the butt, but it taught me another important thing. Planning is always important. I went all in and planned the Albuquerque 2 departure, climbed to 10,000 feet, after flying up the short flight to the VCOOT waypoint on the GPS RNAV-Z into runway 27 at Los Alamos, I got to the VCOOT waypoint and descended, as planned. And then we went to then we started a gradual turn from the WOOB-V intersection, otherwise known as a waypoint, and we turned, and you're supposed to turn right and further descend. Well, what I hadn't known is I was supposed to plan on hitting the approach button by this point. So it would start an approach, And I also hadn't planned to do a go-around because I had no traffic on. And for those of you who don't know what a go-around is where the pilot throttles up and you climb back into the air. Well, anyways, hoping I thought this was short. Anyways, I learned you gotta be ready to hit certain buttons, and have the certain buttons be ready to push. Like just pushing these buttons will not make me go around, but if I push a button on the autopilot that says Toga, which would take off go around, it will make me go around. I just relax. And hopefully we'll get to the approach/arrival here pretty soon. Yeah, we're almost there. Alright, but as you can see, we're climbing toward Alamosa and such. I think I was trying to show something here, but I can't quite see my screen on what I was trying to show here. I could have sworn this section was shorter. But as you can see, I had to learn what the different map selector buttons did. Like, that shows all waypoints / I think they're actually airports, but I can't quite tell just because of the screen size. Talking about that, but, you gotta learn these little things. And I know it's weird, but you just gotta learn them. And learning's hard for me. I mean, I'm a kid with ADD, so it's a miracle in and of itself that I'm able to learn this plane. Most kids with ADD would give up, but this plane has taught me to persevere and keep fighting. So, hopefully we get to the next scene sooner than later. Because I'm pretty sure this scene is in less than 10 minutes, I hope. Oh gosh, no, it's not. Crap. This is gonna suck. You just gotta learn these little intricacies. Like, if you want to see something, maybe rotate the heading select and just don't hit heading select, because otherwise you'll fly off course. Because you're not doing an LNAV/VNAV, which is lateral navigation and vertical navigation, which, as you can see right here, I have my VNAVs, and then this is my LNAVs on the left here. I had to learn, how to program every single altitude hold / speed hold. I had to learn how to program every little instrument just to display how I like it. I know I keep going back to this, but I'm freaking nervous. And if you see that TOC point right out there, that means stop at cruise, by the way. Just another little thing. Another little tidbit. So pretty soon here in this, we're actually going to cross the Alamosa waypoint in about 21.5 nautical miles. And that's where we're going to start the the Lark 7 arrival Falcon transition direct to the runway 35 Yankee RNAV GPS initial approach fix at Croup. But anyways, this, programming that approach caused me to flash back to a time when, I was flying the runway 35 left Yankee RNAV GPS approach, but with air traffic control, which in this game actually isn't the smartest. But apparently, it's supposed to do real life spacing, but it lined me up right behind a 737 with less than the quote unquote real life requirements. So, I knew I wasn't going to make it, so I hit the go around button. and it took me to the Gill VOR, which is actually the holding point for the runway 35 left Yankee RNAV GPS approach if you go around. And, well, so once we get there, I get stuck in the hold, and I'm like, wait, how do I unprogram this hold and fly back? And ATZ was also going, please turn right heading 160, or excuse me, 160. So I was like, okay, I gotta figure out how to unprogram the hold and program in the approach. So, of course, I pull out the QRH. And I tell it, okay, take me here. But the problem is, it's hard to unprogram things in this flight. In the normal Flight Sim 04 planes, one can easily just fly between such and such point with their stick and rudder skills. But in this plane, it's designed to be flown with the autopilot mostly. So I had to, figure out quickly how to program the autopilot to take me back from the Gill VOR all the way to the runway, because the ATC wanted a direct approach to runway 35 left, which, if you're a trained pilot, that's simple enough to do. But, I'm not a trained pilot per se, and never, I'm working on getting my private pilots, but I'm never going to fly a 757. I'm leaving that to others. I like doing the weight and balance calculations. Yeah, airline dispatchers. We kick butt. Anyways, as you can see, we've begun our approach into the Denver International Airport, and I guess at this point I almost gotta quickly, oh gosh, this is way longer than I thought. But yeah, we started our approach into the Denver International Airport, and thinking that was Denver, and then we switched over to the landing, which, as you can see, I'm on glide slope, which are those two red and white lights out there. I don't know if you can see them, but I gotta close this up here and say to sum up, this plane has taught me more than I ever thought possible. And, it's made my life so much easier, through high school. It's taught me to work hard, learn something that's so complex and so just, I don't want to say difficult to learn, but just, very complex. I could have taken AP courses, but instead I learned how to fly this, and use your resources, which I've, carried over to my academic and personal endeavors. And, I guess before we officially land here in the next, hopefully 5-10 minutes, yeah, we're at 18:03, okay, yeah, about, 8 or 9 minutes, I learned that you gotta have a plan, and have a backup plan. Because if you don't plan and have a backup plan, you may end up flying yourself into a mountain like I did when I tried flying from Albuquerque to Los Alamos. Or in a real life situation, you may end up having to switch your dream job, because I wanted to be an air traffic controller, but unfortunately I don't medically qualify, so I had to go to my backup plan. If I didn't learn, to always have a backup plan from the sim, I don't know where I'd be right now. I don't think I'd honestly be graduating or looking forward to graduation like I am, because I'm able to start the next chapter of my life. Whew. I didn't think I'd get emotional as much as I am about this, but looking back, this thing's been through little bits and pieces of my life that, if I didn't have it around, I would have never been able to, function. So, I know this memoir's not the best, but see it from a kid who, honestly, before this, would have been scared to switch from his dream. Who would have been scared to have a backup plan. Who would have been scared to learn new things. Who was scared in general just to do anything different from what I had planned. Now I'm not afraid to do what I've had planned. I'm not afraid to execute a new plan. I'm not afraid to execute this, that, and the other thing. I'm not afraid. And I'm, looking back, this plane saved my butt. I mean, I know I keep coming back to it, but it's honestly saved my butt and taught me to flare and roll out from all of life's issues. And know I'll get through them. Like, now I know I can get through this and the other thing. Just like I know I can fly this Captain Sim 757 now. So, one of my best touchdowns ever, by the way. Other than the fact that I kind of drifted to the left on the runway because I wasn't paying attention to the center line. I was more or less paying attention to the this, that, and the other thing. And as you can see, we finally stopped on the runway here. So yeah, I mean, to conclude this memoir, this plane has been a huge section of my high school life. I mean, and I'm hoping it still has many things to teach me about life, about people, about, everything. I know it's weird to say, but this plane just freaking taught me to just, like I've said previously, have a backup plan, have this, have that. And I know I don't really, I thought it was shorter. And as we taxi in, I never remembered to disconnect the autopilots. Whoops. See? I learned a new thing. Remember to disconnect the autopilots. And as I look for the United terminal, that's Terminal A, which is mostly Frontier, Spirit, and everybody else. United is in Terminal B, which is just about up here, top left corner. Actually, I can't tell where I'm swinging. So this is Terminal A, that's Terminal B, and then Terminal C is back to the right. And we're going to Terminal B, by the way, But gosh, I'm too easily distracted. That's another thing that's playing stop me. I gotta stop being easily distracted. Like that situation where I meant to go around and never did and crashed in the mountain. I learned I should have gone around. I'm just too nervous to do this. Yeah, that's me playing with the sound so you can hear more of how advanced this plane is compared to a regular sim. I mean, a regular sim wouldn't give you that kind of warning. And as you can see, we're almost to the gate here, so I'd like to thank you, Miss Newton, for watching this, and kind of seeing how life's been for me. I mean, I know it's not the best snapshot of my high school life, but I'd like to remind you that this plane has somehow gotten me through it, got me through high school. And I know that's weird to say, but, it just does. So with that, I'll sign off here, and, yeah.
Mm-hmm.